as it's been the last 3 or 4 weeks. We've got another important conference game this week. I know their coach very well. We used to work together, and he'll have them ready to play. They had a big win last week that got them going again, I'm sure. I haven't been to Utah State in a long time, so I haven't been there since they renovated the stadium and all those sort of things. I hear it's really nice, and I hear they get a full house most of the time, and the crowd's loud and supportive of their team, and that makes sense since the last 5 years or so. They're 26-4 at home, so obviously they play really well at home. So we're going to have to be we're going to have to play well in order to win.
Myers, the biggest, most physical beer quarterback that you face?
I don't know about being the biggest or most physical. He's a very talented guy. He throws the ball very, very well, and I think he's the third leading rusher on their team. They believe in him running the ball so much that it's not just scrambles, and it's not just zone reads. They give you a lot of empty formations where nobody else is in the backfield but him, and then they block plays for him as a running back. That's a little different than anything we've seen so far this year. They have some unusual plays where he'll have a zone read play, but really if he keeps the ball, it ends up being a power or a counter play with him carrying the ball. So they have always, no matter what the formation is, they have a chance for a wildcat type play back there with the quarterback. So they give us a lot of different things on offense that we haven't seen all year long. And then he's the key to it because he runs the ball so well.
Is it like defending the veer? Is it like defending Air Force's option? I mean,
no,
where's the stress on your defense?
The stress is when they spread you out in wide formations, and so you have to spread your defense out. They can still run normal power running plays or normal running plays like they do to a tailback, just that the quarterback's the tailback. So in reality, it's like the wildcat formation you see on TV. They get an extra blocker. Now, they don't put actually an extra blocker in the system. They just spread them out wide, so you have to take one of your defenders out wide with him. So that guy doesn't have to block anybody. He just lines up out there, and it's a block because you move a defender out there. So now you have 5 or 6 in the box with the quarterback as being the 6th or 7th guy. And because you have to spread everybody out in coverage, you're outnumbered there because the quarterback is the ball carrier. Same theory as the wildcat formation, and you get an extra blocker. And it doesn't matter if you block the guy by formation, by spreading the formation out, or if you actually block him. It doesn't matter. He's still not in the play.
You always mention about how spread teams, their goal is to get into open field. But from what you've seen of your defense, do you feel pretty confident that they'll be able to get those one-on-one stops that Utah State's?
No, I think the hardest thing in football right now is tackling in open field situations. You don't get to practice tackling very much because of rules as well as concerns over injuries. And tackling in the open field is much more difficult than tackling in a small area. So I think the advantage always goes to the offense in an open field situation.
How would you compare the way your defense is playing right now, the last 3 games or months or so, to where this defense was at the end of last season when you guys were really pretty much lights out? And also considering the fact that last week anyway, 3 starters are out. I mean, McGee's not coming back, Ricks, and your cornerback situation. So you're doing it even with some backup kids right now.
Well, I've thought we've played well on defense the last 3 weeks. I don't think that's a trend until you do it for a longer period of time than that. And for 3 weeks in a row, we've played very similar offenses. So the carryover from week to week makes it much easier on guys to perform well because their assignments are basically the same from week to week to week. And we've always thought until we had the injuries, we thought we had really good depth on defense. Well, we don't have real good depth on defense anymore. We think we have some talented players behind those guys that are now in the starting role. We have some talented players, but they're all true freshmen For every true freshman that starts, you lose a game. You've heard that one before?
No, but
It usually is pretty true, too. If you start a true freshman on defense, you're going to lose at least one game because he's out there, because he won't be in the right place at the right time.
I'm guessing you watched all their film from this season. I'm assuming you also do it in order, or how does that work?
If I watch them in order,
Yeah, like the games that they played on off.
I don't necessarily watch them in order, no, because I watch the last 4 games first, and then if I want to see something, I go back to the other ones.
Well, their starting running back who's been hurt, he got injured early in the season. Could you tell there's a difference in the offense, just not able to run the ball as well, Bob?
No, I don't think there's much difference. The running backs they're using now are different type of runners, but the offense has not changed one bit. They just, the guys carrying the ball just do it. They have a little different abilities.
Rocky, the challenge of coaching at elevation from Bill Laramie, Colorado State, and maybe even Utah State, what's the challenge like? How do you do that, considering college football has so many more, quote, possessions, the ball keeps changing hands?
I think if they're a fast-paced team, if they play with, where they're trying to get a snap every 15 to 18 seconds, I think the teams that live there and practice there have an advantage. If they're not a fast-paced team where they're not trying to snap the ball every 18 seconds, it makes no difference whatsoever.
Even though you get a kind of an extra day with last week being a Friday game, well, not really, it's hard to say. But since you guys are traveling, is it kind of just a wash in terms of preparation? Because it's not like you're playing on Saturday, it's a Friday game again.
No, we have a regular week. Since we're playing Friday to Friday, we have a regular week of practice. Now, I believe home teams have an advantage, sure, because it's more routine. When you're at home, things are more routine. When you're on the road, they're not routine. And most people play better at home.
did you do anything different last week to, I don't want to say protect, but to maybe assist Montgomery on that side of the field, the way you lined up? Did you do anything different
No,
than you would
we
with
didn't.
your normal? 'Cause
No,
you
we-
don't like to do that normally, so.
We didn't do anything different to protect him.
What's the drop-off talent-wise, knowledge-wise, recognition-wise?
The biggest drop-off is in experience. I'll try to explain this the right way. If you are playing man coverage, you've got a man-to-man, unless they've got 2 receivers within a close proximity of each other. And then you do some kind of combination coverage with the guy next to you. If they put 3 in proximity of each other, you have 3 receivers and 3 defenders comboing those routes. If you're playing zone, you have to read the entire route to know exactly where you're supposed to be. So a lot of times it doesn't come to him having enough talent. Those freshmen I'm talking to you about, they have plenty enough talent. They're fast, they're big, they're good athletes. But being in the right place at the right time is very, very difficult if you haven't played very much. We started the season with a very veteran secondary, and we are not veterans anymore. So there's more of a chance of a blown coverage than there used to be.
Rocky, in the first half of Friday night's game, there were 2 targeting penalties, one against Rashad and one against DJ. I believe the one against Rashad was ruled targeting, and then the other one was the first
The other way
one.
around, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you think they were targeted, or what do you think was going on there?
I think they were called right. I think the first one where they overturned the first one against Rashad, I did not think that was targeting. I thought it was a normal reaction to the play. 2 people trying to make a play on the ball at the same time, and they ran into each other. I'm not necessarily for the targeting rule, but by rule, that was definitely targeting on DJ Pumphrey, definitely targeting. And they called it, and they upheld it, and everything was right.
When that kid left the field after he was ejected from the game, it's hard to read, but it looked like he was getting quite a few congratulations from their coaches and other players. And I don't want to pin anything on San Jose State.
I'm glad you're asking this because I've been asked this privately by several people.
Okay.
I
How
don't
would
think.
you handle it? And I mean, how should it be handled when a player, because they want to support their player, of course, but he just did something that's.
I don't think they were congratulating him for the hit. I think they were consoling him because he got kicked out of the game. Because he was one of their best players, and he made a really good football play by old-time standards. And those coaches on that sideline, those people on that sideline know he's a good guy and he's a good player, and he just got kicked out of the game and he doesn't get to play next week, or at least for a half of next week. I don't know exactly what the rule is, but he doesn't get. So they were more consoling him than congratulating him, especially since DJ was fine and the very next play he went 30-something yards for a touchdown. Why would you be congratulating him? The guy made DJ mad.
Rocky, speaking of Pumphrey's accomplishments, where were you when Falk was doing what he was doing here, and how different is DJ style-wise, makeup-wise, talent-wise compared to Falk?
I don't want to say. I only saw Marshall Falk one time in person. And so obviously I heard about him a lot when he was here at San Diego State. I heard about him a lot, but I only saw him once in person. And then obviously I saw him a little bit on TV, but not very much. I don't think they have the same styles. I think they're both great football players that are making the most of their talent. In Marshall's case, he made the most of his talent. DJ is now. I don't know if you can compare guys like that or not. Pro scouts come in here all the time and want to try to have you compare DJ to somebody. I don't know who to compare him with. One of the pro scouts told me he reminded him of Joe Washington, if you're old enough to remember who Joe Washington was at Oklahoma. One of the pro scouts said that DJ reminds him of Joe Washington. I guess that's a good comparison, I guess. I don't know.
He was good.
He was good. Joe Washington was good, yeah.
Offensively, we kind of asked the same question last week. I mean, you got one ball to a wide receiver this week, but none the week before. So is this still something that the offense is concerned about and knowing that you're going to have to get some of this as you go on?
I think we're concerned. I think we're a lot more concerned about how physical Utah State is in their front seven. I think we're a lot more concerned about that.
Michael Holder practiced fully yesterday.
Yeah, he's ready to go. He's 100%.
Rocky, aside from the success your defenses have had over the years here, when you see college football today, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, 1,700 yards on offense last Saturday, and then Texas Tech kid threw for 754. Is it impossible to play quality defense in college football because there's so many great athletes in the systems?
I don't know. I mean, we talked about that as a defensive staff on Sunday morning. That how can you give up 735 yards passing and both teams give up 854 yards total offense? Now, I know Texas Tech has a great quarterback because there's two other great quarterbacks in this country right now that transferred from there. So they have a great quarterback, and I think I believe Oklahoma has great athletes. So I don't understand. I'd have to watch the film to understand. I don't understand that, no.
Rocky, your initial thoughts on John David Wicker becoming the new athletic director? What kind of relationship did you have with him in the past?
I had a good relationship with him. When he was here, he was in charge of. Now I heard him say, I know he was in charge of football because him and I interacted almost daily. And then I heard he was in charge of women's and men's basketball too. That's what Coach Fisher said yesterday. I didn't know exactly. So him and I were together a lot of the time. And I thought he's a quality guy that has a lot of integrity and works really hard. He cares about this place. He cares about our success and the student athlete experience and all those sort of things. I thought the best thing about him being hired is the whole department knows him and he knows the whole department. And he was here with Jim Sturk at the time that a lot of changes were made, and had a positive effect on this department. So you have good continuity there.
So once the dust settles, I'm sure a lot of coaches will want to put a thought in his ear for their sport. Would you have a request of anything in particular you want to see done for football?
No, he's already said something about what's most important for the football program. He already said we need a stadium. I heard him say that yesterday. It's good that he's got the right frame of mind.
Anything else for Coach Long?
Coach, are the 3 suspended players still rolled out for this week?
Yeah, they're suspended. There'll be a final decision on them in the next 2 or 3 weeks.